What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Stas Sealy back with another bang DD bang D bang D bang 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 banging episode, man. Today's episode, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna be doing a little Q&A session for the fans. I'm trying to figure out if I want to make this like a regular type series or just kind of do it randomly. But as of right now, I think I'm gonna do is every time I get like about 5 questions that I see multiple people are asking those specific questions, then I'll go ahead and just do a Q&A episode for you guys, answering you guys questions, so that way I don't have to repeat myself in text or in private message a bunch of times. That is today's episode. So I don't know why a lot of people like to DM me. For some reason, they like to ask me questions about guns and just random stuff in private. For some reason, a lot of people just hit me up in private other than just asking the questions in public so everybody can see, because obviously multiple people have the same questions, but for some reason everybody likes to DM me and just private message me and ask me questions in private message. So when I see that I have about 5 questions that people ask me in private message that I see multiple people asking me, I'm just gonna go ahead and just do a quick Q&A session. So this episode of Q&A with your boy, some of these questions is from YouTube and Messenger. Give me a second. All right, so the first question that I got multiple questions of. The first question is, why did you want to become a police officer, especially in today's climate when police are having such a bad rap with the public? And honestly, to answer that question, it's because of the bad rap that police officers have. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to become a cop. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, I became a cop so I can change the world and, you know what I'm saying, be a hero or anything like that. But public perception of police has been bad, especially with like a lot of the murders that's been happening from different police agencies across America. And so I wanted to kind of become a police officer so I can hopefully change that perception, that public perception that all cops are bad, all cops are dirty, all cops are jerks, all cops are buttholes. I want to change that perception and show people that, not all police officers are like that. We're perceived in a certain type of light. And if I could just kind of just show one person that, you know what, not all cops are bad. Honestly, I'm fairly new to this department, and a lot of the cops and a lot of officers that I've come in contact with, they're all pretty cool, they're all pretty chill, they're not, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I'm just lucky because the agency I'm in have a bunch of cool people, but yeah, I became a cop because I just wanted to try to make a difference in just one person's life. If I can just change one person's perspective of, going down the wrong path, and just change the perspective about law enforcement and police officers. That's my main goal in becoming a police officer, because when I was a juvenile, I was heading down the wrong path, man. I was I was in handcuffs a lot as a juvenile. I did some things as a juvenile that I'm not proud of, but I was just going down the wrong path. And it was one police officer who would come to the neighborhood and talk to us kids, and he actually cared, and he showed us that he cared, and you could genuinely feel that he actually gave a shit, and he always told me that whatever you do, whatever crime or whatever things that you're doing right now, that doesn't have to define who you are in the future. Meaning, no matter what you're getting into right now, no matter what your mindset is right now, you might think this is what you want, but it doesn't have to define who you are or who you become. And that always stuck with me. And honestly, being a cop has always been in the back of my mindset. Like, even though I was out there doing, crazy stuff, what I'm saying? Even I was out there in them streets, and a lot of the interactions I would have with police, they weren't really bad. I only had one bad experience with police officers when I was in El Paso, Texas. One time I got pulled over, and like I was carrying my firearm. I had a concealed carry license permit, and the cop was just being a jerk. Like I told him about it, and I don't even want to get into that, but I've only had like really one real bad experience with police. When I really think about it, I've had a lot of interactions with the cops, but I've only had one real bad one that stuck out to me. Ever since that incident, that bad incident I had, maybe one day I'll tell that story. I just don't want to. I just want to get into that right now. But ever since that incident, that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, man, I wish I was a cop so I can just, I could just tell them off, and or I wish I was a cop and I could see this happening so I can tell that cop, put that cop in his place. And I know like the only way I can really kind of really stand up for that type of stuff is if I become what I perceive the problem is. So if I can become part of the organization that people consider the problem, and I could try to do my part to don't have somebody else experience negative interactions or bad interactions with the police. If I can do my part and see if I see an officer getting out of line or being disrespectful, super disrespectful, or breaking someone's constitution or violating someone's constitutional rights, I'm gonna step in and I want to be that voice for the public, for the community, because at the end of the day, when we became police officers, we took an oath. We swore an oath, just like in the military. We swore an oath to protect the Constitution, and the people in the community. That's what we swore to. So my job as a police officer is to protect the community and to make sure that their constitutional rights is not getting violated. That's my job. That's literally our job, is to uphold the Constitution, state and federal, So that's why I became a cop. I want to try to change the perception, the negative perception that people have about police officers. That's my motivation in becoming a cop. Not because I want to run around, with a gun and a badge and arrest people. That's not the motive. I really just want to just try to change the climate of what the community see police officers as. And I'm honestly, I'm super fortunate that our community is very pro police. So most of our interactions with the public is positive. Of course, you're gonna have those 1%ers out there who just don't give a shit about the police, and who don't give a shit about the laws, who don't give a shit about your personal rights. And you got those people out there who just not gonna like police regardless, and that's cool. If you don't like me because of what I do for a living, then that's your problem. That has nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole perception. But anyways, I'm trying not to rant my answers, but I went on to a little soapbox rant right there. But basically, to answer your question, I became a police officer because I want to try to make that change. I want to try to make that difference. I want to change the perception that police officers have in the negative light, and I want to pull that over from the negative and bring that perception over to the positive side. So that's the reason why I became a police officer. Question number 2. I'm gonna try not to go on to so long rants, man. I'm gonna try to just answer the questions, but sometimes I have to go into a rant to really explain what the reasoning behind what I'm saying. Question number 2. Do you enjoy arresting people? All right. Oh man. All right. So check this out. Do I enjoy arresting people? Plain and simple answer is no. I do not enjoy arresting people. I'm fairly new to the streets, being in the streets, I'm patrolling everything. I'm fairly new. Little bit of time that I've been out on the streets, I have made a couple arrests. Arresting people isn't a motivation, man. That's not my motivation, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, my job is to uphold the state statutes and state and federal laws. That's my job. And so if you break those state and federal laws, and I have to arrest you, then I have to arrest you. That doesn't mean I want to arrest you, because there's some cases that we've had so far that, somebody, that broke the law, and I understand. I legit, genuinely understand why someone would do what they did, and I don't want to go into any details. I genuinely understand, but at the end of the day, if you violate the law, then I have to arrest you. I have to make that arrest. I can't just say, oh, you know what? I totally understand with you, man. I'm gonna just go on and just let you go on about your business. That's not how it works. My job is to uphold the state, the state and federal laws and the Constitution. So, short answer, I don't enjoy arresting people, man. I had this one arrest, man, that I was like, man, I felt sorry for the person's parents, you know what I'm saying? Because, it was just, it was just an unfortunate situation. Like I said, I understand why they did what they did, but at the end of the day, they broke a law, they violated a law, and we had to arrest them. So I mean, it is what it is, man. But at the end of the day, no, man, I don't enjoy arresting people. That's not my motivation. Like, I didn't become a police officer to arrest people. Due to contrary belief, I did not become a police officer to arrest people. I became a police officer to arrest bad people because not all people that commit crime is bad, believe it or not. I mean, like I said, some people just, they're in a situation, they're down on the luck, and they think this is the last resort, and they just do certain things because they thought that that's the only choice they had. So not all people that commit crime is bad. So I want people to understand that. But I do want to arrest the bad people, the people out there robbing people at gunpoint, the people out there shooting people and killing people and, you know, raping and murdering and doing all that crazy stuff. Those are the people that I want to arrest. Regular, everyday people who just break the law, you know, don't have a history, they made a bad choice, they made a bad decision. I'm not happy arresting those people because I understand, like, hey, it could happen to the best of us, man. You make a bad decision, now you're in handcuffs. So no, I do not enjoy arresting people. The only people I will enjoy arresting is the really bad people out there who needs to be behind bars. Next question. Question number 3. Was the police academy hard? Was the police academy hard? Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that the academics that we had to go through, the studying, the test, we had to take a test almost like every week. We had a test to take almost every week, or at least every other week. We had to take a test, like, and these tests in the police academy were pretty. For the most part, not all of them were super hard. There were like about 3 of them that was pretty darn hard, man. And I was just like, I can't believe I passed this right now. The academics in the police academy, learning state statute, learning law, just learning your job as a police officer, that's the hard part because it's so much to learn. There's so much that I don't know if I'll ever fully understand and grasp the magnitude of everything that we have to understand, know, and follow as a police officer. That's why we have our little computers. We can pull up all the state statutes and, you know, the city codes and stuff like that. There's just so much. There's no way that you're gonna remember all of them. So, but you have to know enough to pass these tests. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the academic part of the police academy was pretty hard. It wasn't like super duper hard because, hey, I passed it, man. You know what I'm saying? If I could pass it, then most of you guys can pass it out there, man. So if I can pass all the tests, I haven't failed a test in the entire academy. If you want to ask me what the hardest test was that we took in the academy, it would have to be the post test. I can't give you any specifics, but the last test of the academy, the state test, the state certification to be a police officer, that was the hardest test that we took. There was stuff on that I was like, bro, we did not go over this. Like, what? I was looking around like, anybody else like seeing this stuff? Because I don't remember going over this one right here. So it was the good thing about it that it was mostly just common sense questions for the most part, but there was certain specific things that I was just like, bruh, I don't know. That was the hardest one. The second hardest one would have to be the CRS, the Colorado Revised Statutes, knowing the state statutes, the state statutes test. That was the second hardest test, man. Because even though we were able to go up on our computers and look up the statutes and take the test, it was like kind of like an open book, not open book, but you can use your computer or your CRS book, your state statute book, to find the answers, but you have it on your computer, so you can use your computer. But it was hard in the fact that it might ask you for one thing. You might think this is what the crime is asking for, but then you have to look in all the subsections to find out the exact crime. And if you read it wrong, or if you just misinterpret what they're asking you, you're gonna get it wrong. So even though it's open book and you can look up the state statutes, you have to know exactly what crime or what it was asking for to get the answer right. So even though, yes, this is the crime, but the charge might be wrong. You might charge somebody for second degree when it was actually third degree, or you might charge somebody with third degree when it was actually first degree. So it was just knowing the statutes and just being able to know exactly what they're asking for. That's what made that test hard. The third test that I feel that was hard was the use of force. And it's funny because that was the first test that I actually studied for, the use of force test, because if you didn't pass the use of force test, you were done. If you can't pass that test, you're done. You know, see you next time if you make it again. The use of force one was super hard. But I studied for it and I only missed one question on that test. So I'm super proud of myself. You know, on that test, I was one of the recruits that scored one of the highest for that test. So I'm proud of that. Now, the rest of the test, I wasn't up there. I wasn't up there, but I wasn't down here either. I wasn't up here, but I wasn't down here. So, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the use of force test, man. So if you're going to a police academy, make sure you study your use of force test and make sure you start studying state statutes. For your state tests, there's really no tips, man, because you just have to just pay attention to the objectives of all the classes, all the lessons that you have throughout the academy, all the different, you know, things that you do in the academy. Pay attention to the course objectives, because that's going to help kind of guide you a little bit to the state test. So that's the most I can do, man. That's the most I can give you, man. I can't go into detail, man. So for the academic parts, that was pretty hard. The academics was pretty strenuous, man. That was the hardest part of the academy. Now, if you're asking about the physical aspects of it, like doing PT and stuff like that, everything else wasn't hard. The PT wasn't hard. Like when I first started, I remember day one, I was thinking that we were gonna get smoked. If you guys are in the military, any of my ex-military people out there, y'all already know, when you go to any type of school, any type of academy in the military, you're gonna get smoked. They're gonna make the walls sweat, you know? So that was the mindset that I came in day one. I was ready, like, okay, we're about to get smoked. And it never came. It never came. And I was just like, okay, all right, it's not bad. Okay, it didn't happen day one. Maybe day two is gonna happen. So day two, I came in, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be the day. I know they're gonna smoke us today. And then, no, they didn't. And day three, I'm like, okay, today's the day. It's gonna happen today. And nope, a week goes by. I mean, we did get like a little smoke session, but it was not bad. If you're from the military, if you have any type of military experience in any type of academy or school, you know how it is, how you get smoked, man. If you can deal with the Army getting smoked, you're gonna breeze by this police academy. It was not that hard. The physical aspect of it was not that hard at all. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying, oh yeah, it ain't. Yeah, I'm not saying, yeah, that physical part wasn't shit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it wasn't as hard as I was mentally prepared for it to be. So don't say that I said, Sealy said that it's easy as hell. No, that's not what I'm saying. If you're going to a police academy, start getting in shape. Start lifting weights, start running, start doing cardio, man. I promise you. It's not easy, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. The hardest part of the academy was all the academics, all the testing, all the testing that we had to go through, man. That was the hardest part of the academy. Where are we? We're at number 4. We're making progress. Question number 4. Question number 4. Hey, question number 4. All right, man. This question's kind of, it says, what gun do you carry on duty? All right, okay, what gun do I carry on duty? I mean, I already talked about my duty gun on there, but we carry, for my duty gun, my issue duty gun is my Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. Get this one, all right. This is my duty gun, the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. It's a pretty cool gun. If you guys haven't seen my review about it, go scroll down the timeline, go check out the playlist, and check out the review of this gun right here. So I'm not gonna go over and I'm not gonna talk about it, but this is it right here, man. I'm super impressed with this pistol, like I said. Super impressed with this pistol, how it works, how it performs. Super impressed with it, man. Our issue duty gun is a Smith & Wesson M&P. I need to send my staccato away back to staccato, because they didn't approve my staccato for duty use because the trigger was a little too light. They want it to be a little bit heavier on the trigger. You know, they don't want me to, you know what I'm saying? They don't want any type of accidental discharge. So I'm still debating if I want to make my trigger a little bit heavier, or so I just bite the bullet and just say, no, I'll just leave my staccato how it is. I can get my staccato approved. Like I said, I just got to send it to staccato so they can adjust the poundage on the trigger. And then this is my backup on duty gun right here. It's a Glock 43X. Glock 43X. There is a review. I'm pretty sure that review is already out. Check out my Glock 43X review, part 2. This was mine. I did 2 reviews. There's one that when I first did for my wife when she first got her Glock 43X and I did the red dot install. So that was the first one, and then this is the second one, which is mine, which is the exact same gun, just with a light and a different optic. But these are my two guns, man. Like I said, this is my regular duty carry. This is my backup on duty gun right here. Also my backup off duty gun. So Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, nothing special, Glock 43X, man. Those are the duty guns. Next question. The fifth. We're at the last question, yo. We're at the last question. All right, the fifth and final question for the day is, how do you like being a police officer and how does it compare to being in the military? So far, being a cop is pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool to know that I can take my gun everywhere, so that's one of the cool aspects. Just that, I guess, the presence of just being a police officer, you know, people see you and they kind of like, you know what I'm saying, you kind of have that like, you know, that presence, you know, when you walk in a room, everybody is like, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying that to say like I'm letting it get to my head that I think I'm a badass now, I'm a Billy badass because I'm a cop. That's not what I'm saying, man. I'm always gonna be me. I'm always gonna be who I am, and I'm pretty chill, I'm pretty mellow, and I'm pretty laid back, and that's who I'm gonna be, that's who I am, that's who I'm gonna stay my entire career of being a police officer. So I don't want you guys to think that, oh, I became a cop so I can be some badass now. No, that's not what it is, man. I'm gonna be who I am. This is who I am all the time. If you're cool with me, I'm gonna be cool with you. If you try to be with me, I'm gonna be with you, like, you know what I'm saying? So I feed off of people's energy, man. So whatever your energy is, that's the energy I'm bringing, man. Even if you have a bad energy, I'm still gonna try to bring my positive energy to you. And if you just not trying to hear what I'm saying, you're not trying to receive that positive energy, then I'm gonna give you the same energy that you're reciprocating onto me, man. I like being a police officer, man. So far it's pretty cool. So far it's pretty, I mean, it's still a lot, man. It's a stressful job, man. Honestly, it's a super stressful job. I'm used to stressful situations being in the military because, you know, we just always had some type of stress going on in the Army, man. My stress level in the Army was like, like, you know what I'm saying? But it's not, so how to explain it? The stress level is, it's not the same type of stress in the military. A lot of the times in the military, the stress that you're dealing with is just people, commanders, leadership who is just trash. And so you're stressed out, and then you're dealing with appointments, and you know, you're stressed out for other things, like, you know what I'm saying? And as a police officer, the stress that you have to deal with is you have to make sure that you know what you're doing. So you have to make sure that you're not violating anybody's rights. You have to make sure that you're not, you know, that you're not wrong. And you have to understand that if you are wrong, admit that you're wrong, apologize, and carry on. You know what I'm saying? But the stress that you have to deal with just being a police officer is that we're in a police uniform in a marked police car, and right now our department is switching to a lot of the big Chevy Tahoes. So we're driving a humongous billboard that says police on the side of it. For the most part, most of the people in the community, they're pro-police. So for the most part, you don't have to worry about the majority of the community. But like I said, you still have those 1%ers. You still have that 1% of the population who just don't want to do the right thing, who just want to commit crime, and who don't care for the police, and they hate the police. And so you have to deal with that stress, and knowing that there's a possible chance that somebody could try to harm you, try to do something to you just because of the uniform that we wear. So we constantly have to be scanning, we constantly have to be, you know, protecting ourselves, and we constantly have to be on guard. Even when we go on calls, we're constantly watching people, we're watching their hands, we're watching their actions, we're watching their movement. So your brain is constantly moving. So if you don't know how to shut that off when you're off, on your days off, then that's going to create issues at the house. So the hard part of being a police officer is just trying to learn that balance on when you're at work, your Terminator senses is on. When you're home, you go back to being a regular human being. I like being a police officer. Like I said, it's just a lot of stressful things. We go into a lot of stressful situations, you know, because that's what we do as police. When things are going bad, we go to that bad situation. So it's a stressful job. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all rainbows and butterflies. So you have to have that mentality. You have to have that mental fortitude to know that, okay, I can deal with whatever I'm about to deal with. I like being a cop so far, man. So far, like I said, I'm brand new, you know. Ask me in about a year or two, and maybe I'll be like, man, I hate this shit. It might change in a year or two, who knows, man. But as of right now, man, it's fun. I'm having fun learning. I'm having fun just interacting with people, just dealing with different cultures, dealing with people, different people with different problems, and trying to solve people's problems. That's what we are, man. As a police officer, that's what you are. You're a problem solver. You are paid to solve other people's problems. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I like that. How does it compare to the military? It's not the same, man. Like I said, like I kind of already mentioned it already. The military had your own different type of stressors. In the military, you knew exactly what the enemy looks like. You know what they look like. You know what they dress. You know what they drive. You know what type of guns they have. You know what the enemy looks like in the military. As a police officer, the enemy looks like me and you. So that's the hardest part of being a police officer, man. So the comparison, it's not the same. It's a different level of stress. It's a different level of danger that we put ourselves in every single day. In the military, not every day you put yourself in danger. For the most part, in the military, when you're deployed in another country, that's when you're really in danger for the most. But when you're stationed in the States, it's not too much danger, just other than training stuff. Training accidents, that's the real danger. Your battle buddies is your danger, you know. As a police officer, the danger can be anybody, anywhere, at any time. So it's not the same. It's a lot more stressful. It's a lot more to deal with, and it's a lot more weight that we have to carry, man. But anyways, man, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, we'll see you guys in the next episode, man. Hey, we're gonna try to make this a regular type of deal. So if you guys got questions, ask your questions, and I might put it in a Q&A session, man. But until next episode, man, remember, always be greater than you were yesterday. We live to train because we train to live. Go out, learn how to shoot, learn how to protect yourself, because you are your own first responder, man. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys turn on the bell notification so you guys get notified every time we drop another banging video. But until next episode, man, it's your boy, Stats Aren't Silly. I'm out. Peace.